Hello. Welcome back to the Magic tutorial. Today we'll be talking about how you can remember the informations in a quadrant for your trigonometric identities. Yeah, so remembering the informations in what? In your quadrants for trigonometric identities. Alright, now say we have our cardinal points. Yeah, we're all familiar that this is the first quadrant, this is the second quadrant, this is the third quadrant, this is the fourth quadrant. Yeah. Now what happens in the first quadrant? The first quadrant ranges from 0 to 90 degrees. So it ranges from 0 degrees to 90 degrees. The second quadrant ranges from 90 degrees to 180 degrees. Sorry about that. 90 degrees to 180 degrees. The third quadrant ranges from 180 degrees to 270 degrees. The fourth quadrant ranges from 270 degrees to 360 degrees. What does this mean? It simply means the information you can have here are just values that ranges between these values 0 and 90 degrees. That means anything beyond 90 you can't have it in this particular side of the quadrant. Yeah, anything beyond 180 you can't have it in any side of this quadrant. Same thing applies for the other two sides. Yeah. Alright, so now what happens in this first quadrant? First off, when you have a question to solve for the first quadrant, now what you do basically here is what we call 90 minus theta. Take note of this. It's very important in solving questions that has to do with trigonometric identities. For first quadrant, you have 90 minus theta. For second quadrant, you have 180 minus theta. For your third quadrant, you have theta minus 180. For your fourth quadrant, you have 360 degrees minus theta for your fourth quadrant. Now, I am very sure you are familiar with the fact that when you have sign is positive, sign is negative, all of those informations here. So, how do we get to know about that? Alright, now, for the first quadrant, all angles here are what? Are positive. What am I trying to say? That means for both sine, cos, and even tangent, they are all positive what for the first quadrant. That means the sine of any particular angles that falls within this range, you have a positive value as your answer. The cosine of any value that falls within this range, you have a positive answer for what? For your result. Same applies to tangent of any range of values from 0 to 90 degrees. You have what? You have the same thing here. Yeah? Alright. So all is positive here. All that is sine, cosine, and what? And tangent is positive. Yeah, for this we have our sine to be positive here. Yes, sine is positive. That means it is only sine of the angles you have here. The sine of values that ranges between 90 degrees to 180 degrees are things that will give you a positive result. But if you have to find cosine of angles ranging from 90 to 180, you have a negative value. Same thing applies for tangent for angles ranging from 90 degrees to 180 degrees. Yeah, so yes, sine is positive. For your for our third quadrant, tangent is positive. Tangent is positive. That means it is only the tangent of the angles between 180 degrees to 270 degrees that will give you a positive result. Yep. If you have the sine of angles from 180 to 270 degrees within that range, you have a negative answer. If you have cosine of angles within this range, you have a negative answer also. And finally, for the fourth quadrant here, you have our cosine to be positive. So it's just cosine here that is positive. That means the cos of angles ranging from 270 degrees to 360 degrees are those ones that will give you a positive answer, while the sine and the tangent will give you negative answers for the fourth quadrant. Yeah. Now there's an abbreviation you can use to always remember which of them is positive, which of them is negative for each of the quadrants. Now here we can say this is A. Yeah. Here we can say this is S. Here we can say this is T. And here we can say this is what? This is C. Now, counting from your first quadrant through your fourth, through the third, down to the second quadrant, you can actually form A, C, T, S. Acts of the Apostles. Yeah. Also, we can also count from the fourth down to the third, moving through the first, through the second, and finally to the third. Yeah. You have what? You have cast. C-A-S-T. So I trust that you've learned this. Thank you.